Hashtag Team Body Armor.
Oh, that's true.
Oh. You can throw it away. I don't know.
Mookie Betts is
I
now
just didn't see a
available.
trash can.
First question's from Dave Vassay.
Hey, Mookie.
What's going on?
Just curious how you guys have adjusted to the life in Texas. Is it strange you'll be playing your Dodger playoff games in Texas?
Yeah, it's definitely a little strange, but you have to adapt, and I think everything will be fine. I mean, that will all be secondary to what's important to us.
What did you think about the way the ballpark played, the way the ball flew out of there when you guys played? Is it as big as it kind of looks like?
Yeah, it's a pretty big field, but that means there's a lot of hits out there, and so we just build innings, with hits instead of homers.
Mookie, we've all heard you say that you felt like the Dodgers got punched in the face in that first game in San Diego. What do you think the message was that you sent back to that team in the next two games and also for this series?
I mean, just that we're here to play. We're not gonna just keep getting punched in the mouth. We can come back at you, and obviously this is a new series, and so we have to come out with some energy, ready to go, because they will.
Try to match their energy because they play with a lot, or do you just have to be the steadying selves that you guys play with?
I think we just have to be the steady selves that we that who we are. I mean, we can't. They have a lot of energy, a lot of young guys over there, and so we can't. That's tough to match. We don't need to play their game. We need to play ours.
Next question's from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mookie, about the series in San Diego in September, when you said that, what did you mean by getting punched in the mouth?
I mean, just that we were flat. I mean, they just kept. It just seemed like they just kept coming at us the whole game. We never had an answer. There was really nothing we could do other than just sit there and take it. And so, at that time, and so we just had to talk amongst ourselves, and we were able to come back out and play the game that we always do.
Is it a good thing to get punched in the mouth once in a while?
Absolutely, it's definitely a good thing, and I'm glad it happened at the time, and so now we know what to expect, going forward.
How does this series change if they don't have Lamet and Clevenger?
They didn't have Lamet and Clevenger last series, and they still won. So, it's obviously not going to be easy. Those two guys are some really good arms. But I don't know how much it changes. I know that they'll be ready. They'll be ready to play for sure.
Thank you.
Next question's from Hardy Castillo. Go ahead.
Mookie, you mentioned that this field's so big and there are hits out there. Do you change your approach personally, or does the team have to change their approach in terms of you might have to go the other way a little more? You might have to manufacture runs in different ways.
I think you just hit. I mean, I don't think you change too much. I think you can't necessarily play too much to the ballpark. I think that's more of like some base running things. Maybe some positioning in the outfield. But you don't really change your approach. You still need to go drive the ball the same way you always do.
That series you guys had here against the Rangers, is that valuable just for yourself, even defensively, just knowing the dimensions and all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of plays into our hands as far as we've been here before. We kind of know how the ball travels, know a couple ins and outs of the field, and so we can kind of use that to play this series.
Thank you.
Next question's from Rowan Kavner. Go ahead.
Hey Mookie, with the amount of time you guys have had before this series, are you a guy that likes to pour over as much data as you can about the other team, or is there kind of a level where you don't want to overlook much information?
I'm kind of in the middle. Obviously I want to know some info, but there's definitely too much. You have to go out and play the game and kind of let the game tell you what's going on. So that's kind of the way I view it. Just try and get some info and then just read how the game's being played.
You guys have had a lot of fun games and series against this team. Is there one that sticks out most to you when you think back to the games you guys have played against each other?
I mean, not off the top of my head. I know this will probably be the most fun. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot going on, but I'm here for it.
Next question's from Ken Gurnick. Go ahead.
Mookie, a lot of people compare Tatis to you, maybe being the next Mookie as a player that can impact the game in so many ways. Do you see that? And having not seen a lot of him until this year, what are your impressions of him and his ability?
Obviously, he's a star. I mean, he does everything on the baseball field you can ask for. I wouldn't necessarily compare him to me because we're two different people. But he's got all the tools. The smarts. He's got everything, and so he's definitely a lot of fun to watch. But there's also like a lot of maturity there as well. So you just got to tip your cap to somebody who's that good, that handles everything so well.
Thanks.
Next question's from Evan Grant. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. As a guy who came over new to the Dodgers this year, how would you describe the way this system of processing information and making decisions works as compared to, not compared to anything, but just how would you describe it to the outsiders?
I mean, it's tough to say. I'm still kind of learning how it all works. Learning who's does what, up front, because I don't get to see anybody, and so it's tough to kind of answer that question because I don't know what goes behind it. I just know what's in front of me.
All right, thank you very much.
Next question's from Jeff Sanders. Go ahead.
Hey Mookie, having spent your career on the East Coast, I was wondering what you thought the lay of the land would be in the NL West, and if the Padres have surprised at all in being in this position this year.
I mean, just being out here on the West Coast is a different way of life for me. I didn't necessarily think about the teams that I'd be playing against. Everybody's in the big leagues and everybody's good. So the Padres are young and they signed a couple guys. They're going to be good here soon. And then once I got here, you didn't realize how good they were. They have a lot of really, really good arms. Some good prospects coming up. So I mean, it's just it's going to be a lot of fun. Going forward.
The bullpen game they threw the other day. You've had your matchups with them, but does seeing their manager work through that, does that give any information about how they might approach some of these games when they are light on starting pitching?
I mean, maybe. He'll make his decision whenever that time comes. I don't want to think for him, but just seeing it, lets you know that the depth they have in their bullpen is really good, and they can get the job done.
Thank you.
I got time for one more. Go ahead, John.
Thanks. Hey, Mookie. I was curious to ask you, Dave Roberts is certainly regarded as one of the great communicators in baseball, and I wonder, what have been your observations about how Dave has been able to do that during a year in which in-person communication has been so difficult?
I mean, the way that he can take all the info from up top and then kind of relay it to us is obviously really good. We've done a pretty good job in listening and kind of applying what we are supposed to do. But he's just a guy that can like a friend. I mean, it's not just a manager type thing. You know, when I see him, maybe because we were friends before he was my manager, and so you know, to me, he's like a friend that you know you listen to when he says do something, and then other than that, I mean, it's just he just sits back, laughs, and has fun, you know, managing these games.
Thanks, Mookie. Thanks, everybody.
We're good.
We're good.
Everybody, Walker Buehler.
All right. This sucks. I hate these interviews. Walker Buehler, now available. Why do I have to look at myself in the face? I don't.
It's going to go away.
Yeah. It's not great. Hmm? Yeah, I don't like it. Huh? First question's from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Walker, obligatory question to start. How's the blister?
It's good. Same as it has been, obviously. Myself and the training staff. Just keep plugging away, working on it.
How many different treatments have you done with it? Are you sticking to one thing, or you've been bouncing around trying different things?
You know, I've heard a lot of you know, at home solutions, and you know, we've tried some things out, and Possum's dealt with this before, so he's kind of leading the charge.
You going on YouTube and trying to figure it out on your own?
No, I'm just letting him kind of you know, again, lead the charge on that. I just trying to not worry about it too much.
What have you done here in the last couple of days since you've gotten here? They're on the mound as usual?
Yeah, same routine.
And what can you glean from, you faced them one time this season, it was pretty early. What can you glean from that start and you know, they have a few new players, so I guess how are you studying this lineup and going over the data?
Yeah, just kind of go through it the same way we do. You know, the playoffs didn't really change that for me, so you know, just study them like we always do and see what we can do.
Thank you.
Next question's from Dave Vassay. Go ahead.
Walker, how much does the experience factor play a part in this series, considering the players on your team have been to World Series games? Would you say that's an advantage for you guys?
You know, I would say in most years, I think it would be a huge advantage. I think this year is just a little different without the fans and things like that. So, you know, obviously that team over there is playing well, and you know, we're gonna have to play good baseball to win.
If you neutralize Tatis and Machado, is that pretty much the game plan to neutralize their offense?
You know, those are obviously two really talented players that they got over there, but you know, they got a good team. I don't think you can just try and beat two guys and you know, let the other 7 guys run wild or whatever. So, you know, obviously it's important to not let those guys beat you, but at the same time, they've got some other guys over there that can do some damage.
Does this series have a different feel for you than past postseason experiences?
I don't know. Obviously, you know, I guess this is probably the first time that we've played a team from our division and in the playoffs since I've been here. So, you know, maybe that way, but you know, all in all, it's trying to win 3 out of 5 and move forward.
Thank you.
Next question is from Ron Kavner. Go ahead.
Walker, how much fun were those series against the Padres this year? I mean, was there any kind of just added something considering, you know, the records you guys both had and just kind of the battles every time you guys played?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't throw too well against them, so it wasn't super fun for me. But you know, obviously there's some intensity in those games, and you know, we enjoy that. We've played in some big games in the past few years, and that intensity's always a good thing, I think.
Do you feel like you gain anything from you know, the last few starts of having to pitch through the issue? Do you think it's I don't know, help give you sort of any sort of insight on you know, what you can kind of expect from yourself through the blister?
I expect to be myself regardless of it. It's just kind of how I operate. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's something we got to deal with, and I got to deal with. But at the end of the day, my job is to perform, and that's what we're trying to do.
Thanks, Walker. Thanks, everybody.